Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from the channel Redolescence. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And in this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at 10 fragrances by the company Phuong, so stay tuned. Now this is a company that I recently discovered, so every time that I become immersed in a new brand, the exploration phase of it is just so amazing and it's so immersive for me that I just sort of shut everything else off around me, and I want to make sure that I experience each and every fragrance and I try to get the most out of it. But the one thing that really turned me on about this brand is that I noticed that 9 out of 10 of the releases are composed by Bertrand Duchaufour, who is one of my favorite perfumers. He has done Jubilation 25 by Amouage, Enchanted Forest by the Vagabond Prince, Sartorial by Penhaligon's. The list goes on and on and on. And when I saw that, wait, hold on a second, he has done 9 out of 10 of these fragrances and I've never tried them, what gives? I started to really be kind of disappointed in myself, but I'm so glad that I have the opportunity now. I do have an official booklet here, so you will see me referring to it from time to time, and also so I know the order that the fragrances are in. And I have to tell you guys, there is not a single fragrance in this list that I think is filler material. There's nothing in this list that I'm like, yeah, this fragrance was just a mediocre release. Everything here is a stellar knockout fragrance. I am so incredibly impressed by the releases from this brand. And the only thing is they do have a pretty hefty price tag associated with them, but I will leave information down below. Check it out. I have acquired one of their fragrances since then. It was not sent to me by the company, and it's called Untamed Oud. And it is absolutely amazing. It's hypnotizing. Let's not waste any time. I do want to get into it because there's a lot to talk about, and each one of these is special in its own way. So I do have the booklet here. I'm going to try to be very careful so I don't knock this down. But the first one is called Obscure Oud. And what I remember about this one is that it is an obscured oud in a sense that it doesn't smell fecal, animalistic. There is no note of BO or body odor, as some people have sort of misattributed to the olfactory profile of the note of agarwood. But this one does have a kumquat note in here. And the only other use of the note of kumquat that I remember is in Forever by Moschino, which smells very sickly sweet. But I also quite enjoy it too. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. This one doesn't smell sickly sweet, but it smells natural and it smells realistic. And while there is the use of oud in here, it's not overwhelming or overbearing. So this is a great starting fragrance for people who want to get into the note of oud. They want to experience what it's like, but they don't want something that's going to choke them out. I think Untamed Oud is the counterpart of this fragrance, and quite literally, like the name implies, it's untamed. It's a scent that is really going to be robust. It's going to get people's attention. So let's talk about that one next. Untamed Oud. It has the oud in here. I know it has some florals in here like the narcissus. It also has a little bit of rose oil, or maybe I should say a lot of rose oil, because to me it comes straight through. This is the closest fragrance in there that I would say resembles a Middle Eastern fragrance. So if you're familiar with offerings by the company Montal, then you kind of have an idea of what Untamed Oud is going to smell like. But again, I have to echo the description that I gave for the first fragrance, Obscure Oud. It smells very natural, very true to form, and very realistic. And I think that that is an exemplification of Bertrand Duchaufour's talent as the perfumer for this brand. Very, very impressive scent. What I like the most about this second one is the boozy accord that it has up top, which is rum. And I know there are a lot of spices that are used in the fermentation of a lot of alcoholic spirits. Like I know absinthe is wormwood and artemisia, and rum is a few other spices and seeds in there. And sure enough, this has cumin and coriander. But it's not too strong that it smells like a Fate Man by Amouage. Because if you smell that, you know what cumin smells like. Also, if you smelled Rose 31 by Le Labo, you know what cumin smells like, that it's kind of done a little bit too strongly. This one, it's not that strong. It's enough in there to make it quirky, but also to make it stand out. And every single fragrance in this lineup is unique. The next one here is called The Calling. And notes for this one would include lavender, cumin, cardamom, pink pepper, cypress, green mango. There's another note of rum in here. And this one is a little bit heavier on the spices, but you have some sweet spices in here like cinnamon. there's also a pleasant note of saffron, really adding a nice little quality and attribute to the composition. And as it unfolds, it becomes really, really pleasant. The initial blast can be a little bit off-putting or too strong to somebody who is only used to the standard, generic, easygoing, compliment-getting, mass-appealing fragrances. So this one is really out there. So that's what I would say. The style for this one is rock and roll, creative, and effortless. And there's also a tobacco note in the dry down. So you have the spices, you have the tobacco, you have the rum. Do not miss out on this scent. Awesome, awesome, awesome fragrance. I also want to once again mention all of these are extrait de parfum. So a little bit goes a long way. So there is a high concentration of aromatic compounds. So if you are looking at the price tag and you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, just do take note that 1 or 2 sprays is going to last you the whole day. And I can say that with experience. I actually made the mistake of putting one of these in my oil diffuser and my house smelled like it for days, which wasn't really a mistake in the end because it smelled awesome. The next one is Craving, and what I like about this one is the inclusion of a lot of fruity notes. So it has bergamot, it has yuzu, it has quince, it has a plum effect, and plum is one of my favorite notes. If you know me, you know I love fragrances like Andy Warhol by Bond No. 9 Face Edition. I also really like Frank No. 2 by Frank Los Angeles, although I don't like it as much as the Bond No. 9 scent. And this one also has the patchouli, the myrrh. It has a coffee note that is really noticeable. So you get the fruity notes, the citrus, and the coffee. And what I like about these fragrances is that every single one of them has some sort of unique note in there that you're like, you've never tried before. This one has the note, or the accord I should say, of roasted bread. So super unique. And the style for this one is bold, intense, and addictive. And I would have to completely agree with that one. The next one is called Believing, and this one, believe it or not, was a little bit lighter for me, and maybe that's because of the increased presence of the citrus notes in there. So this is a very accommodating fragrance, very appealing, and also surprisingly deceptively long-lasting too. It has green mandarin, yuzu, bergamot, lemon. It has grapefruit, red berries, green agris, herbaceous, and water hyacinth. So it has the citrus, it has the floral. The unique note in this one is the syringa and the marine effect that it gives off. I don't particularly like the presence of a lot of florals, and this one is quite overdone. It has white freesia, jasmine absolute, champaca absolute, which of course is another floral. So my nose tends to gravitate away from floral notes. So this one wasn't at the top of my list in terms of being a favorite, but it's a really well-constructed scent and another amazing scent by Bertrand Duchaufour. And the style for this one is urban, textured, and thrilling. I didn't mention, but the style for the first one, Obscure Oud, is innovative, mesmerizing, and magical. And the style for Untamed Oud is powerful, inspiring, and unforgettable. So far, I think these descriptions are pretty spot on. The next one is actually the one that I sprayed in my oil diffuser, and it's called Vermilion Promise. And if you're familiar with the color vermilion, it has that strong, saturated appeal about it. It's a really nice connection if you're talking about synesthesia here. Synesthetically, I think it's really strong. And the notes for this one are rum, apple, fig leaf, yuzu, bergamot, freesia, geranium, cloves, jasmine absolute, violet flower, iris, orchid, lily, black truffle, cashmere wood, castoreum absolute, so there's a little bit of an animalistic quality about it, labdanum absolute, which is a resin, apopanax, musk, honey, and benzoin. It has the resins in there, but something about it gives off a sharp vibe. I don't know if it's the florals, but this is quite a mesmerizing scent. So this is the only one where the style, I could say some other adjectives could have been used in there, but it is carnal, it is exotic, and it is glamorous. The next one is called Cryptic, and this one, also composed by Bertrand Duchaufour, has notes of aldehydes, suede, carrot, magnolia, Turkish rose, Moroccan rose absolute, cellophane rose, and peony iris and iris concrete, and oak wood, oak moss, amber, castoreum, and musk. If there's an animalistic scent in the literal sense of this scent, it would be this one with the musk and the castoreum. And it also has some other elements in here that I think would give off an animalistic vibe. And the presence of the rose in there, I think, is really, really well done, which is why I would have to agree with the style description here, calling it dynamic and compelling. The next one is called Leather Up, and as the name implies, you are going to get some leather in there, but more specifically, it's a suede leather accord. And I do think that there's also a note of saffron in there, if I remember correctly, which really enhances the leather accord that's used in there. I've seen that being done with an imaginary author scent, where it has saffron in there, but it kind of plays off into a leather accord. This one is fantastic. It might actually be my second favorite in this entire collection, with my first favorite being Untamed Oud, and I also really, really like Vermilion Promise and Cryptic. The second to last one is called Liquid Red, and this is another one that's synesthetically inclined. It has artichoke as a note, bergamot, whiskey, champagne, a lot of boozing nuances, and then in the base you have some amber, vanilla, musk, and mahogany. It's woodsy, it's resinous, it has a little bit of a sweetness, but it's not overdone to the extent that it's tooth-decayingly sweet. It's an even balance of notes, and it's really well done. The style description for this one is exquisite, ravishing, and irresistible. And the very last one in this collection, which is the only one that is not done by Bertrand Duchaufour, this one was composed by Marina Jung Allegret. This one is called Raw Secret. And another thing I didn't mention, it would take far too much time to go over every single one of them. But as you can tell, each one of them has a little stanza that's written by the creative director. So cool. It really just paints a picture of what this fragrance is supposed to smell like. The inspiration that it's drawn from, so brilliantly put together. The creative direction on this one is excellent, just second to none. So please, if you like the works of Bertrand Duchaufour and you have tried fragrances like Sartorial and Jubilation 25 and Enchanted Forest by the Vagabond Prince, you owe it to yourself to go out there and try these fragrances. See if you can get this sample coffret. It really would go a long way. The last one, Raw Secret, it has mandarin, red pepper, tea leaves, ginger, aldehydes, bergamot, jasmine absolute, lily of the valley, an imaginary white flower accord, amber, and sandalwood. This is probably, of all of the fragrances that I've tried in here, this is the most polished fragrance, meaning that the notes, in my opinion, seem kind of compressed together, and they're really well blended together in the regard that you can pick up little individual notes here and there. It's just overall accords. Like there is that woodsy accord in the base. There is that floral accord in the mid that kind of gives off the impression of a white floral. So I think the description is really honest, really transparent. All of these fragrances are incredibly unique. I mean, for a house to put out so many fragrances and each one of them is a stunner. And please, you don't have to take my word for it. These are just recommendations. This is just one man's opinion. I highly recommend you go out there and you give these fragrances a shot on your own. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So I want to thank Phuong Dong for giving me the opportunity to sample these fragrances. Such an amazing addition to the fragrance repertoire. So thank you for that. So thank you all so much for tuning in. That was my take, my house overview on 10 fragrances by the company Phuong Dong. If you own or have tried any fragrance by this brand, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Once again, friendly reminder, links for purchase will be down below. So if you want to just check out the house, check out the company, investigate a little bit, see which one might be to your liking, read the stanzas associated with each scent, definitely go nuts. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and please enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way you never miss any of my future content. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.